Hi, I'm Darshana. In this video, I'm going to discuss some network-related topics in VCAP deployment exam. As we know, for the VCAP, we should know both distributed switch and the standard switch concept, component, and configuration. Uh, Here, I'm using one of the VMware HOL, and I have my OneNote. Okay. First, we'll discuss about the VMware standard switch. Okay. When we compare the standard switch and distributed switch, the main difference is when we want to use the distributed switch, we should have enterprise plus license. Without having enterprise plus license, we can't deploy VMware distributed switch. Main advantage is, this is my example. I have 3 ESXi cluster and this is my vCenter. Okay, here I don't have enterprise plus license, then I have to use VMware standard switch with multiple VLANs. Okay, then we need to create vSwitch separately, and we have to create port groups separately. So VLAN 100, here also VLAN 100, here also VLAN 100. Then this is a cluster enable. Then we can do the vMotion, whatever thing. That's how in the standard switch we have to do it manually in all the ESXi host with the standard switch. But when it's coming to the VMware distributed switch, what we have to do is, this is my vCenter and I have ESXi host. In the distributed switch, what I'll do is I'll create DVS, the VMware distributed switch, and I'll create all the port groups and all the configuration here. Then I can attach this DVS to ESXi host and we can centrally manage it. Okay. First, we'll learn the things from distributed switch. In this example, I'll take this ESXi 02 host. Currently, it has only 2 network adapters, and one is already attached to the distributed switch. But I am going to use that second NIC, VM NIC 1 to my new VMware standard switch. Okay. Let me put it to the full screen. Okay. When I'm creating a standard switch, what I have to do is go to the select the ESXi host and configuration virtual switch. Here I can add networking. When I'm adding the networking, we have these are the 3 options. Okay, either we have to use the VM kernel network adapter, or we can create virtual network for virtual machines, so port group in the standard switch. Okay. As you know, VMware, we have 2 main networking components. One is the VM kernel, which we'll use for management, vSAN traffic, vMotion, and backup, iSCSI, and whatever thing. The other one is for virtual machine network. Okay. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create new virtual switch, standard switch for VM kernel. Okay. Click on next, and here, if you have existing standard switch, we can browse and click on there, or we are going to if you are going to use the existing network, here we can browse it and select the virtual network, but here we are going to use new standard switch. Therefore, I am select new standard switch. This is the maximum transfer unit. We can set 1500. It's a default value. If you are using jumbo frame for iSCSI or any other traffic, we have to make it 9014 jumbo frame value. Okay, here we can select the network adapters. Okay, let me explain that one. This is my ESXi host. I'll take 2 NICs, NIC 1, NIC 2. Okay. when I'm creating a standard switch, what I can do is, this is my standard switch. I will add adapters to this standard switch and I can do the teaming. But at the moment I don't have two adapters. What I'll do is I'll use only one adapter. Just click on active adapters and we can add the adapter. This is the VMNIC one. Okay. I have added it. Okay. We can see properties and other settings. Okay. Okay. As I selected VM kernel port, then here I can give that port settings for this one. As example, I'm going to use this for management. Then I just type MGT and I'm going to use the IPv4 and the default TCP/IP stack. And from this list, I can select what are the required traffic for that. For this port group, I'm going to VM kernel. I'm going to use only for management. Therefore, I have selected management. And if you have any VLAN, what I have to do is just tag the VLAN ID, or else we can say none. Or if you are going to use multiple VLANs and from the OS level you are going to tag it, then we can select all. Okay, we can give IP address or we can use the DHCP. I'm not going to use any IP address here. Okay. Now it has created the B switch 0. Okay. And at the moment I have only one VM kernel network called MGT. Okay, but I want to use this standard switch for networking as well. I mean virtual machine networking as well. Then what I have to do is just click on add networking and we can select virtual machine port group for standard switch. Yes. Select an existing switch. Yes. Okay. Here we can give the port group name VM network VLAN 200. Mention the VLAN ID. Okay. Done. This is how we can create the port groups for virtual machines. Just I want to make sure that they're available for virtual machines. Right click on the VM and go to the properties. In the network adapter, we can attach that port group with this network. Okay. Now we'll see what are the configuration on standard switch. Let me select the switch. Click on edit. As I mentioned, here what I can do is we can mention the MTU size, and when it comes into the security, there are three options: promiscuous mode, MAC address changes, and force transmit. If you're using any monitoring system which needs to that what do you call, we need to analyze traffic and all, then we have to use the promiscuous mode enable accept. And MAC address change, when your incoming traffic changes the original MAC address, and that's the MAC address change. And force transmit means your outgoing traffic is when you're sending traffic out and the MAC address is changed with your originate MAC address, then that's a force transmit. These are the three options we have in the security. In some of the monitoring system kind of a thing, we have to enable the promiscuous mode, and some of the NLP, Windows NLP, or some network load balancing mechanisms, we need to accept MAC address change and the force transmit. These are the settings you have in the security page. And when it's coming to the traffic shaping, by default it's disabled. But what we can do is we can enable the traffic shaping. Here we can mention average network bandwidth by kilobit and the peak network bandwidth also by kilobits, and burst size is also kilobytes. Okay, which means that if we mention 1024 as the average bandwidth and the 2048 double the size for the peak bandwidth, and here we can say 8096 as a burst size, which means you can normally send 1024, but when it's coming to peak, the maximum you can send 2048 for this much of traffic, that burst size. Okay, these are the settings in your traffic shaping. And when it's coming to the theming and failover, here when it comes to load balancing, we have actually a few options. Okay, first we'll select the route based on the originating virtual port. When you are creating a new virtual machine and when you attach that VM to the network, it will assign a virtual port in your virtual switch. Then that your ESXi host will select one uplink for, here actually we have only one uplink. Assuming if you have two uplinks, then that your ESXi host will select one uplink for that virtual port. Okay, the advantages is there's no any switch configuration needed in your physical environment, and also it's a low resource consumption on your ESXi host. And when your vMotion that virtual machine to different run, it will take different network port and it may allocate different uplink for uh, that virtual port. Second one is route based on the source MAC hash. Uh, Depend on your MAC address, it will select the uplink for your virtual machine and do the load balancing. Advantages is same as the originate port ID. There is no any specific configuration needed in the your physical server, physical switches, and also it is a same as the previous one. It's a less low resource consumption on the ESXi host, but disadvantages is this one and previous method. It doesn't do the excuse, it doesn't do load balance depend on your workload. Another one is route based on IP hash. It will do the calculation on based on your source and destination IP and will assign uplink. But for this one, we need physical server configuration. That's a disadvantage. The advantage is it's more distribution of the load uh, among your the physical uplinks, and it's better than the MAC address hash and the originate port ID. But disadvantage is it's a bit complex to troubleshoot and physical switch configuration is required. Uh, the use explicit failover is actually it's not a load balancing. It will select that failover order and assign a uplink. Okay. Normally in the standard switch, normally we are using route based on or originating virtual port, and when it's coming to the distributed switch, we can do the actual load balancing based on your uh, network load on uplinks. Okay, and when it's coming to the network failure detection, we have two options: link state and the beacon probing. Link state is the default one, and it will check for any physical link up or down that is error, and it will do the failover of that your physical links. But beacon probing, it will do some more additional error checkings and detect the any failures kind of a thing in your physical environment as well as your NIC address. But the disadvantage is we should have at least 3 physical network port for same V switch to turn on the beacon probing, and we can't use the IP hash for load balancing with beacon probing. Let's keep it in your mind. And notify switch, which means if your say there's a failure and your link is up, then we should notify switch. We can select either yes or no. And failback. As example, if you have two VM NICs that uplinks and there's a failure in NIC 1, then we are using automatically it switch to the NIC 2 and the tower traffic is passing through the NIC 2, and there was a error with say network cable, then we have replaced the cable and we have both connections are active, then it will fail back to that VM NIC 1. Okay, that's a one more option. These are the things we have to consider with our standard switch. And one more thing, let me show you. Okay. Sorry. Let me remove the virtual switch. Okay. Actually, we have noticed that when we are creating the virtual switch, standard switch, there's no place to assign a name. It will create V switch 0, V switch 1 like that. Okay. If you want to create VMware standard switch with specific name, what we have to do is just log in to get the enable SSH and get a session, and we have to use the ESXi command. No need to remember all the commands. Okay, ESXi, and we can use a tab network. Okay, network vSwitch. Sorry, standard. I'm going to add new switch. Okay, add VMGT management standard switch. Okay, done. Let me refresh. Yep. Now here we can see there's a switch, but it doesn't have any uplink. After that, what we can do is manage physical adapters and add the uplink. Okay. These are the things we need to remember for we have to practice for your VCAP deployment exam. And I'll create in my second video, I'll show you how to work with the distributed switches. Thank you.